Hello, I am Rocio Inclán, Senior Director at the National Education Association Center for Racial and Social Justice. Thank you for joining us for Teach Truth on Constitution Day. Teaching about the Constitution is required on Constitution Day, but while some want to erode our freedoms, we know the Constitution is a living, breathing document that frames our current freedoms and has always been a framework from which to grow a yet unrealized justice for all. This session will provide you with the practical hands-on resources to ensure students understand the truthful history of the Constitution and that it belongs to them, no matter what they look like, where they are from, or who they love. We have with us trusted partners from the American Constitution Society, Zinn Education Project, and AFT's Share My Lesson to provide resources that will broaden our students' understanding and engagement with our history so that together we can make a better future where we can all thrive. Join us to teach the truth on Constitution Day, and we will email you all the resources mentioned on this call, as well as send you art that you can hang on your classroom all year long. We are kicking off this session with the free speech activist Mary Beth Tinker. Mary Beth is the namesake in the landmark Supreme Court decision, Tinker versus Des Moines. On February 24, 1969, the court ruled 7-2 that students do not, quote, shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. The case set a precedent for student speech in schools. Mary Beth continues to educate young children about their rights, speaking to students across the country. Please welcome Mary Beth.
Hello, and thank you so much. Hello to all the teachers out there. I am so glad to be part of this project that will give you some ideas for how to teach the Constitution, not just on Constitution Day, but all year long. What a time it is, mighty times, as one student told me recently. Some times in history are just a little more intense, as we know, and this is certainly one of those times. But we know that there have been difficult times before in history and challenging times, and we should never sugarcoat that. We should always learn the truth of our history because, for one thing, it can help us to understand the current times and even help us manage our times. We are connected to those who have fought for truth and fairness, not only through history, but also to those now who are speaking up and working for fairness and for democracy in our country and also in the world. And so I'm so glad to connect with all of you teachers. I've always felt a kinship with teachers, maybe because I'm a pediatric nurse. And I've found in my work that knowing their rights and using them is actually good for the health of students. It's good for their physical health, their social health, psychological health, and even their spiritual health. So that's another way that we are connected in the way that we advocate together for the well-being of young people and for a better world. When I was 13 years old in 8th grade in 1965, along with other students, I used my constitutional rights to speak up for peace in Vietnam by wearing a black armband to school. Yes, it was controversial and we were suspended. But the American Civil Liberties Union took our case to court, winning a Supreme Court victory, saying that neither students or teachers leave their constitutional right to expression at the schoolhouse gate. The court also said that schools should not be enclaves of totalitarianism, and that students are persons under our Constitution. And the court said that without controversy, we don't have education or democracy. The ruling built on other cases, especially one from the 1964 Freedom Summer Campaign. The case is called Burnside versus Byers. Yes, the court said there would be limits to rights, but the court affirmed the importance of student and teacher voices. Today, these voices are especially important when students and teachers like you and me also feel sometimes discouraged. And we need to know that knowing our rights and using them is not only good for ourselves, but for our whole society. And what I've found is that it's also a good way of life. Now I continue to use my rights to speak up about all the issues that I care about and that affect me. Yes, those issues can be controversial, but as I tell students, the way to deal with controversy is not to censor things, but to speak about things with respect for each other. We are all needed in this moment to help shape the future towards a more equitable and peaceful world of true democracy, not just for ourselves, but for the whole planet. It is challenging, but in the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, we must do that which we think we cannot. And in the words of Fannie Lou Hamer, we must keep on keeping on. So here's to youth and to all of you teachers who inspire and encourage youth to know and use their constitutional rights this Constitution Day. I'm looking forward to joining with all of you and to keep on keeping on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth. It was so inspiring to hear from you and really sets the tone for this program. I'm Ashley Erickson. I'm at the American Constitution Society. It's an honor to be joining this amazing group to talk about Constitution Day. And I want to say thank you, especially for including me, considering I'm a lawyer and not an educator. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our organization, the American Constitution Society for Law and Policy, or ACS, is the nation's foremost progressive legal organization with a diverse nationwide network that includes nearly 200 student and lawyer chapters and progressive lawyers, students, judges, scholars, and advocates. Our mission is to support and advocate for laws and legal systems that redress the founding failures of our Constitution, strengthen our democratic legitimacy, uphold the rule of law, and realize the promise of equality for all. As I'm sure you can imagine, Constitution Day is a pretty big deal at ACS, and this year we recognize even more so in this moment how important it is to talk about the Constitution in our communities, and especially in schools. I want to share a bit about ACS's flagship Constitution Day program called Constitution in the Classroom, where for over 20 years, we've encouraged members of the legal profession to coordinate with their local schools on programming on the Constitution. As you all know, civics education is an essential part of democracy, and learning about the Constitution and the principles it outlines is crucial for helping students know their rights and become engaged in public life. Through our Constitution in the Classroom program, teachers can invite one of the lawyers in our nationwide network to visit their classroom on Constitution Day, or really any day of the school year, and to connect directly with students to talk about these important principles and why students should be engaged in democracy work. We have a number of lesson plans that cover different topics, including the rule of law, voting rights, separation of powers, and more. The lesson plans are broken down by elementary, middle, and high school, and they are interactive and offer a unique opportunity for students to hear directly from and ask questions of a lawyer in their community. Lawyers who have an important perspective of how the Constitution functions in everyday life and why it's important for students to know and care about it. Each year we release a new lesson plan topic, but all of the previous year's lesson plans are available on our website and ready to use depending on what makes sense for each individual classroom. ACS offers general support and help getting a program started and connects local teachers and lawyers. I need to mention we send pocket constitutions to pass out to the students during the lessons, which they always really love. I personally have had the opportunity to visit a number of classrooms over the years as part of this program and am consistently inspired by the students I've had the honor to talk to. I hope that I not only offered them new insights into the importance of the Constitution, but that I was able to share my passion about this work with them. Likewise, the students' enthusiasm and willingness to think critically about what the Constitution means to them has helped me in my advocacy work to help make the law a tool that can be used to improve the lives of all people. I would love to help any of you get involved for Constitution Day or even after Constitution Day. Sharing the importance of the Constitution isn't a one-time thing, and it's essential that we share why the Constitution matters right now and why we both need to defend it against attacks, but also expand the promises contained therein. If you're interested in having someone visit your classroom or want to check out our Constitution in the Classroom resources, please visit the Constitution in the Classroom program page on ACS's website, which is acslaw.org. And you can either email or fill out a form there to get involved. The link to the webpage will also be distributed as part of this program, and I look forward to connecting with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. My name is Julia Salcedo, and I work with the Zinn Education Project, which is coordinated by the nonprofit organizations Rethinking Schools and Teaching for Change. We are hosting Teach Truth on Constitution Day because we believe that studying the Constitution is essential, especially now as constitutional rights are increasingly under attack, including the freedom to learn. Teachers across the country are signing up to participate. In fact, it was on Constitution Day in 2020 that the White House, under President Trump, launched the 1776 Commission. The language of that executive order set the tone for many of the anti-CRT laws and book bans that began to spread in the spring of 2021. In response, educators and students organized to defend the freedom to learn. All too often, students are asked to simply recite the preamble, rather than engage in critical inquiry. The Constitution is presented as a sacred text, not a document created and amended through struggle. Students rarely learn who the Constitution was written for and who was excluded. To help educators teach truthfully about the Constitution on Constitution Day and all year long, we have compiled the following resources, and all of our lessons on our website can be downloaded for free. These include 10 ways to rethink the Constitution, where we offer key points for students to discuss. Our first point is one vote, unequal value. The Constitution's system for representation and voting is organized around states, not people. Another point is how it's built to block change. It is very difficult by design to formally change the Constitution. Many people try to make valuable popular reforms to the Constitution, but are blocked by the constitutional system they seek to improve. These and all of our 10 points are available as a text and also in a gallery walk format. Then we also have our Race, Class, and Constitutional Convention. This is a unit with 3 lessons. The first invites students to think critically about key issues that confronted the framers of the Constitution, examining the perspectives not only of the elites attending the actual Constitutional Convention, but also of the enslaved African Americans, poor white farmers, and white workers. North Carolina teacher Tracy Barrett used this lesson with her high school class, and the students determined that the Constitution should have abolished slavery. They wondered why the founding fathers are so revered given that they did not do the same. Then they analyzed who was in attendance at the Constitutional Convention and realized whose interests were being served. We also have our founding documents we don't learn about lesson, and students like to read the voices of those left out of the textbooks. So we posted a set of primary source documents from the era of the American Revolution and US founding. We include Native Americans, African Americans, women, and working people of all races. None of them are founding fathers. In addition, we include teaching ideas. Virginia high school teacher Deanna Forbes used this lesson and said, the primary sources in this lesson were everything. A fan favorite was a 1774 essay by Caesar Sartor, where he says, I need not point out the absurdity of your exertions for liberty while you have slaves in your houses. She said, I 10 out of 10 recommend this lesson. If you want to move beyond the typical founding documents, dive into the perspectives of those who were critical of the ideals of the founding and engage your students. And we also offer a lesson on teaching climate disobedience, using the film Necessity in the Classroom. A lesson about multiple cohorts of climate activists, Indigenous leaders in the climate justice movement, valve turners using civil disobedience to stop the flow of oil, and the legal team that uses the necessity defense in the courts. Students learn how people have organized to defend and expand their rights. High school teacher Mark Appel used the lesson and he said, "Many of my students saw the action of the valve turners and attorneys as empowering and inspiring to the ways that we can all be advocates and protect our earth and Native peoples." So we invite educators and community members to sign up for Teach Truth on Constitution Day on the Zinn Education Project website. Add your city to the map. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sari Beth Rosenberg, and I am a classroom teacher and a proud member of the American Federation of Teachers, as well as the Share My Lesson community. Get this. So Share My Lesson is a free lesson sharing platform for educators to share high quality lessons for every subject and standard, including Constitution Day. And Share My Lesson remains a trusted resource for high quality education materials, many of which are designed to support educators implementing standards. From the beginning, we have been committed to providing our community of members high quality and effective lesson plans and professional development resources, all for free. Share My Lesson organizes lessons for major teaching opportunities, including Constitution Day. For example, here is our Constitution Day activities and lesson plans. Since civics and democracy education isn't limited to Constitution Day, and Share My Lesson also has a civics and democracy collection. For example, the best way to access all SML civics content is this themed collection URL found under Browse, and you can find it under Share My Lesson collections. We also have incredible civics partners. I'm going to list them right now. The National Constitution Center, iCivics, Close Up, Center for Civics Education, CFR Education, Edward M. Kennedy Institute for the United States Senate, the Bill of Rights Institute, and the Albert Shanker Institute. So this is our partner. This is our page with the Albert Shanker Institute that you can find on Share My Lesson. The Albert Shanker Institute was founded, the think tank was founded by the AFT to carry on the priorities of the very legendary labor leader, Albert Shanker. And one way they have done has been by commissioning high quality lessons from accomplished teachers that you can find in their Educating for Democratic Citizenship community link. And this is the link right here. This is what it looks like. And as you see here, the Albert Shanker page has links to helpful webinars and materials as well. And the other resource that we offer is, shameless plug, you can follow individual teachers like me. I host a series called History Chat for Share My Lesson, and they are accompanied by lessons here, and they cover famous women in history and include many lessons related to civics and democracy. So if you, and I'm sure a lot of you will who are watching today, create a great Constitution Day lesson, please share it on Share My Lesson so we can include it here. And I want to thank you, and thanks for all your work to create, that you're going to do to create these meaningful learning opportunities for your students and your fellow teachers. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. A special thanks to our partners and presenters for their time and for their insights. Please check out the resources, and find ways to celebrate and commit to our freedoms and our future on Constitution Day and all year long. We look forward to hearing how these resources come to life for your students. Thank you.